IRWC.
No, we don't get a bill from them. From Sherry?
We're not eating it.
No, what I'm saying, you're saying, so there was just $3,800 inside.
I don't know what our bill is.
No, but I'm saying,
I don't have our bill.
if it's that piece of $3,800,
Depending on what each charges per hour. Because if they're on the phone for an hour, the company's paying David Foreman for an hour, and you're paying your attorney for an hour. And I think that is absolutely how it should be. They should get paid for their time.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
So
I just don't understand why when Foreman talks to Jan Sherry,
I think
Jan Sherry isn't going to be Foreman.
because he's on the phone on your behalf for that amount of time. No matter who he's talking to, if he's working for you for that hour, you're getting a bill, right? Am I confused? I thought that's how the billing worked.
I thought if he was representing IRWC, it would be billed to IRWC.
He's not, he's representing the city of Carlinville.
He's representing the city.
The city was sued as well, not just the company. So when they talk, he doesn't represent us, he represents
so
you.
both sides are
You
being
know,
billed.
take it to them.
Basically, Dan is billing
Right.
you
Yes,
guys.
absolutely,
So
everybody's getting
$3,800
billed.
and $3,800
Dan
for
is
Dan.
not billing them.
They're
Dan-
foreman.
David Foreman.
Dan
Foreman is
Foreman
billing.
represents them.
But
Dan
I'm just saying,
Sharon
we got
got
the-
asked to help me for the city.
When 5 different people get sued, 5 attorneys get paid. And I didn't pick them. So,
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening, and with that, we will now have roll call.
Milbrook,
Here,
Blackburn,
Here.
Campbell,
Here,
Doriso,
Oh, hi, here, sorry.
Downey,
Yes.
Tigert, Oswald, Tim.
Here.
Okay, all aldermen are present. Okay, I hope everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes. If so, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Just approved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Doriso. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no, and the minutes are approved. Next, we will have the budget officer's report, treasurer's report, police report, approval of bills, approval of lake bills, lake ad hoc bills, and lake watershed. And I'll start with finance.
General fund expenses, $1,090,236.02. Infrastructure fund, $1,560.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Sure.
Joe?
Motor fuel tax, $9,794.67. Street fund, $6,000. Water fund, $170,895.67.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Doug, you want to
Lake
report
is
on the lake?
$6,473.20.
Okay, thank you. And police department?
law enforcement funds, $2,190.63.
Okay. If there's no corrections or any additions to the reports, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I would move that we approve the budget officer report, treasurer's report, police report, all bills, including lake bills, lake ad hoc, and lake watershed bills as presented.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Doriso, second by Alderman Downey, that we approve the budget officer's report, treasurer's report, police report, approval of bills, approval of lake bills, lake ad hoc bills, lake watershed, clerk call roll.
Tim?
I'd just like a little discussion first.
Okay?
Because of a discussion that happened in finance over Mr. Shearing's invoices on the alluvial matters.
Okay?
And Joe had questioned it, and I got to thinking about it, and I thought, I'd like to see the breakdown. So I asked for the breakdown from Julie, and just looked at it, and I'm having a hard time understanding the bills that Mr. Shearing, I just assumed he inadvertently billed the city for discussions that he had one-on-one with IARWC. either Mr. Foreman or other members of the board.
Mhm.
So I questioned that portion of the bill tonight.
Okay.
I'm questioning that piece of the bill.
Okay,
So I guess I want to understand it, because I don't understand why, when it's not the city of Carlinville, that bill doesn't go to IARWC if it's to benefit Mr. Foreman in his piece of the lawsuit pie.
Well, that's a good question. Dan Shearing and I, when this came up, being involved in the other lawsuits, we discussed, and I discussed with him, the lawsuit that had been started in February and actually was served in April, I believe it was, and the issues it raised. And I thought immediately he had some good points. He and David Foreman and I talked on the phone. I told Mr. Shearing that I would appreciate his help on this matter, because there are a lot of constitutional issues raised and other issues that were raised, and even though I thought it was, let's say, a relatively weak lawsuit, I had to treat it very seriously because it was jeopardizing the city's ability to move forward with a large project and jeopardizing all the participants. Mr. Shearing was acting at my behest, and I asked him to work with David Foreman because our interests, for the most part, in this lawsuit are almost identical. The purpose of the lawsuit is to block the ability of the city to proceed and join together with other municipalities and other entities to create and to solve our water problem. Those issues are the same issues that are faced, and to be truthful, I tried to reach out to the common attorneys, because again, it's a very expensive process, since Dorchester had to hire Nicole Thomas, okay, and Scott from Jerseyville had to represent Jerseyville Rural Water. And I thought these issues, especially the constitutional arguments, would be helped by someone who's really an expert. And so Dan Shearing was brought in. The reason the city should pay Dan Shearing's bills is because I told him we would, I mean, subject to the council's approval. But I asked for his help. I asked him to work with David, because those issues have to be knocked down as the city of Carlinville has them, as Alluvial has them. We worked together to respond to this complaint, and we worked together to, and we're still working together to solve this problem. Dan's involvement since then has been very limited, but I've relied on Dan Shearing because I think he's an excellent resource for the city, and I think the city's gotten excellent service from him before on other issues that the city brought him in on. But the reason the city should pay this bill is because it was work done for us. It will benefit Alluvial, it'll benefit Dorchester, it'll benefit Jersey Rural Water if this issue is solved. And so, to me, we should pay for, and if there's a problem, it's a problem I created. Dan Shearing is not going off on his own to talk to David Foreman.
that's it.
I just wanted to make a comment that I do think that it's reasonable that there would be bills for defending the city of Carlinville in a lawsuit where Alluvial is not the only entity that was, there were 5. There's gonna be bills for 5 attorneys. And, you know, if they talk, then there's gonna be a bill to each entity for that conversation, because that's their job. That's what they do for a job. So I think it's reasonable that the city, unfortunately, has to bear financial responsibility for the lawsuit, just like the entity and all the other entities involved. So if we've utilized the expertise of those people in order to solve this issue, then we need to pay our bills.
Any other questions? Yes, Beth?
So you said each entity gets billed, and this is the part that I don't understand, and I'm sorry, I don't. So if Dan Shearing has talked to David Foreman, And the city of Carlinville is getting billed for that, because we recommended Dan Shearing.
No,
Is David Foreman getting billed for that too?
no. I asked David and Dan to work together. Okay, I asked them to do that, okay? Because I thought that benefits both of us. I was involved in some of these phone conversations. They're three-way phone conversations, okay? Other ones, I was not, but there were questions and answers flying back and forth, and a lot of issues were raised by this lawsuit. And so David Foreman and ARWC did not hire Dan Shearing. I asked Dan Shearing to help me because the lawsuit is aimed at the city of Carlinville. It's meant to stop this project. And so there's going to be, each one of these organizations is gonna spend thousands of dollars, and already has, I'm sure, defending what essentially is a taxpayer lawsuit, which kind of says, hey, because I pay water rates, I should be allowed to override your vote, okay? But we have to treat it that way, just as Mr. Shearing probably did more than what people would think should have been done with the election board. Another instance where no matter how the lawsuit or how little effort the other attorney's putting into it, we have to treat it as if it's going to have severe consequences for the city, which to lose it, it would. Now, this jeopardizes and slows down and causes, for example, the village of Dorchester, which doesn't have any money for this stuff, a lot of money to resolve these issues. But we're gonna take them dead serious, and if someone can help us preserve the vote of this council to proceed with this, that's what I believe my job is to do. And Dan has particular expertise, which I think was helpful in this circumstance, and so we should pay him.
Yes, Joe?
So just to be clear, Dan Shearing was a resource that you use to protect Carnival's interest in basically the lawsuit.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that explanation.
Yep.
I truly
It
didn't
gets
understand.
confusing, and I apologize for that, so.
Okay, any other questions?
Oh, yeah, I do have one more.
Yes.
Do we need to, as a council, approve Mr. Shearing's services? Because we've never really done that I know of.
It's my understanding from what Rick Bertinetti instructed me in the past, that that was not necessary, that when he used Mr. Kane billed under him, and when he hired Mr. Shearing, he hired Mr. Shearing, but I'm here to do the will of the council, so if the council should decide that's how they wish to proceed, then I will obviously follow your direction.
Okay, we do have a, yes.
I'm sorry, so does that mean that Mr. Shearing might be putting bills through your office also?
No, any bill that you're gonna see is gonna come through this chamber. I'm not, no, what I'm saying is that's how I understand it worked in the past.
There is a motion on the floor to approve the bills, and the clerk will call the roll.
Toon,
Yes.
Oswald. Aye. Hager,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Teresa,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Brockmeyer,
Aye.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried 8-0, and the bills are approved. Next, we have the Carlinville Police Commissioner's correspondence, and this is a letter of hire for a full-time police officer. This is to advise you that the Carlinville Police Commissioners on September the 5th hired Benjamin Schelt as a full-time police officer for the city of Carlinville. This police officer was hired from the Commissioner's eligibility list, posted February the 2nd in accordance with the section 10-2, 1-15 Illinois Revised Statute. And Officer Schelt is now presently working, I believe, as of what, Chief, last week?
Yes.
Last Thursday. Okay, so this is now can be placed on file. Along with that, we'll do all of this at one time. We do have a letter addressed to the city council and requesting to set up a mobile literature display card at the Cleveland County Courthouse on Thursdays from 11 to 1. This is regarding the Jehovah's Witnesses, and that has been approved. Also, we have the CHS Krispy Kreme date of October the 27th from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. And this is a fundraiser that the Soccer Booster Club is putting on. Also, on the back of that, I received a request from Aaron Key, and he's the president for the Unhinged Law Enforcement North-South Club. And they will be holding a ride on October the 6th to benefit the Cops Foundation. We will be leaving the 109 at 12, and they would like to make sure that the Northwest Street from Main Street to First North be blocked off from 10 to 12. So that is the correspondence we have received. I would entertain a motion to place on file.
Motion to place on file, but with one question, Mary, you said that the Kingdom Hall Jehovah's Witnesses, are they gonna be in the courthouse or at?
No, they're on the sidewalk.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
That's okay, so we can get permission to use the courthouse, but we don't have that permission, okay.
No, Sheriff Hall said that they, and the city here, the sidewalks
Okay.
were fine.
Motion approved, place on file.
Actually, Sheriff called here and asked for us to give permission, and we let him go from 10 to 12, or, yeah, 10 to 12. Okay, motion? Motion by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Doriso, that we place this correspondence on file. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no, and the ayes have it. Okay, next, under public comment, is there anyone that would like to make a comment? Anyone? Yes,
Question?
yes.
Have we done the depth on Lake 2? Do we have that scheduled? Mr. Harold?
Good evening.
I think we're gonna get to that, weren't we?
Yeah, we will, but we can schedule that,
We
or
can
we can
do
get to
that.
that right now. 9/24/2018, so it'll be next Monday.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and get out there and get that done. Okay?
Thank you.
October, okay, September the 24th,
September the 24th.
okay? All right, old business, any other questions? No other public comment? The IARWC update, that's Cindy.
I don't have a lot to report. Our application is completed and has been turned in. It's been passed to the federal level. So it's being reviewed. We hope to have great news by the end of the month. That's our hope anyway. So, hopefully at the next meeting, I'll be able to bring you very good news, and, we'll have a meeting soon, and I'll have more at that time.
Okay, all right. Any questions on that? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Global Tech Outdoor Warning Siren System, that's Cindy.
This is a quote to replace the siren on top of City Hall. This is the final one, I think, that will be replaced with a newer siren, and Aaron Shipley recommended that we replace it with a larger one, the same as what's on the square, because now the hospital is out further than it was when this was installed, so this would cover that area as well. So it is a little bit larger. The total quote was a little bit higher than we thought it would be, not by a lot, but it was higher. It was $29,775 to replace that siren, and it is a bit over our budget for that line item, but we do have contingencies to cover it, so I would make a motion that we go forward with purchasing and replacing this final siren on City Hall.
You're making that as a
Yes.
motion? Okay. Motion has been made by Alderman Campbell, second by Alderman Heigert, that we go ahead and pay the $29,775 to Global Tech Systems for an outdoor warning siren system. Any questions? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Downey,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Toon,
Yes.
Heigert,
Yes.
Oswald, Brockmeyer, Campbell,
Aye.
Teresa.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna skip the zoning advisory report this evening, and we'll go on down to the citywide cleanup. This is in your packet, I think you'll see it posted on the bulletin board and throughout, and then I think we're going to put it on radio, news, whatever. So,
I'm going to do a much better job of getting that done as I do it, as opposed to the street oil and rock. Okay? So, while I'm up, I want to apologize a little bit for that, because even though we had the meeting scheduled for Monday, Labor Day, it got moved to Tuesday. Press is Wednesday morning for the paper. I wasn't able to turn that around, and so it didn't get into the paper. And I don't think it had much coverage in social media, and I could never see it on WSMI either. So I'm kind of rethinking how I release these kinds of deals. So I put this together, included it in your package. We have some up front when people come in to pay their water bills. They can take one there. We'll have them out there on the counter. I'm going to put it on the Public Works page, and then go from there. And make a look, try and get that out a little bit quicker so those folks can respond and get it on board. So I apologize for that. That's my fault. I won't let that happen again.
okay. Next, you want to talk about the Loveless
Yes.
sidewalk?
Okay, so in the little packet that I put on your desk here, I have a picture. First picture here is Loveless Parkway facing west towards Walmart. Okay? The second page is standing at the same location, one facing east. Okay? So I put those in there so you can get a little bit of an idea what the grade is there. And then on the final page, you have an overhead of the entire area. Okay? So this project, which is not a City of Carlinville project, this is a project that's being considered by Winning Communities, which is part of the Chamber of Commerce. Okay? And they're considering trying to build a sidewalk between the yellow dots here on the page. Okay? It's a distance of about 750 feet. All right, and now the reason why I was involved in this is at the request of the mayor. I went out and met with the Winning Community folks, and you can see right in the middle of the map on the overhead, there's a lake that sits right there, and where Loveless Parkway crosses, it's a kind of a dam there. Okay, and so Winning Communities was looking at perhaps building a sidewalk, and depending on how wide they went to make the sidewalk, they might have to put a retaining wall in, it would require a lot of fill, that kind of thing. If it got to be too expensive, they were interested in knowing whether or not the city would be open to the idea of striping a section of that roadway off. Now, being as a person who's been down there on a Saturday morning and was going to go to the park with cars going in and out and stuff, it's a little bit unnerving, because you can hear the cars coming up from behind you while you're walking down the roadway, and you're wondering which one has your name on it. Kind of such a situation. So again, the Winning Communities folks are looking at doing this, and I think their overall dream would be to have sort of a bike trail and walking area that would go from Loveless Park all the way down to the state park, south of town. Okay. A couple things though I want to bring up was that in the blue box there, which is kind of hard to see, okay, that is the area adjacent to the roadway where they would like to, put the sidewalk. Okay, but where the red circle is, we have a lift station there. Okay, and we need to get a truck. We need from time to time to get a truck down into that area in order to do work at the lift station. So that's going to be a little problematic. They're going to have some, things they're going to have to take care of there. And then you also have to get from that roadway over to the existing sidewalk that you see on the left-hand side of the page. Okay. So once again, they're only interested in right now in letting us know that they're considering this, and they're hoping that in the event that they decide to go ahead and build this sidewalk, that the city will allow them to build the sidewalk on our property adjacent to the roadway. Yes, ma'am.
Is that build and maintain the sidewalk, or?
Well, that would be part of the agreement that I think you would draft with Winning Communities, so that you could certainly include that in that. Yes, sir.
I know Winning Communities' idea is to build the bike path through Loveless Park out to the road down in Sugar Blacktop, but since we've allowed MJM to be out there now, I don't think MJM would allow a bike path to go across their facility because of the safety issues. That's why they want to get out of town. because they didn't want bikes, so they would never allow a bike path to go from the edge of town across them. It'd have to be on the other side of the road, on the railroad track, because of that. So, I mean, I don't think Winning Communities is aware of that or not, but Laura made that comment that that's one reason why they want to be out there when they're bringing those big trucks in and out. They don't want to have to worry about pedestrians or bikes going in front of their property. I mean, is Winning Communities aware of that?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they ought to be, in case, before we build that, I mean, I've always thought that, in my own mind, would be to take the existing bike path, the trail, cut across the ravine, go in behind Walmart, and come up behind the school, and go down to Barrett Kleeman's little cutoff road, you know, along the tree line, behind the school there. I mean, and that way you bypass all the MJM, and then you're already out by Lake Reniker Road. And that way, then you take a ravine from our existing walking trail around there, behind the school, and then around, and that way MJM's not affected, anything else. I mean, maybe that ought to be suggested to the.
I know they have an easement in that front part there, when they were working on their grant. I think they acquired an easement for that property where MJM's going, and so I don't know what has happened with that.
But Laura, I asked Laura about that, and she said, no, that was something they
Yeah.
would not ever allow because of the safety issue of their.
I think they
Trucks in and out.
are aware of it, probably, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, but I know that they have a lot of interest in people being able to park on the north side of the parking lot at Walmart and be able to access the park when they have activities going on down there. So
Right.
perhaps
Still
they're
sidewalk.
two separate projects, but they kind of tie together, not all in the same right away. Okay. And then lastly, is there any more questions on that? Okay.
Quick question, Dan.
Yes, sir.
So like your lift station here, so
Yes, sir.
is that sidewalk, how, is there a solution to keep?
Well, yeah, it's gonna require thicker concrete, and your curb will probably have to be at grade, you won't be able to have a curb there.
Okay.
So, to me, that would be something we'd wanna look at to make sure that there's no drainage issues whenever, if, you know, whatever plan they decide to come up with, that it meets what we need in order to be able to do what we're doing.
Joe?
So are they gonna come back to us with a final plan then? Is that the next step? or-
When they decide what it is that they wanna do and when they wanna do it, because I think they were also working with Walmart to try and get grant money to help offset the cost of that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
You had said something about if they couldn't do the sidewalk, that they're wanting to stripe the roadway?
Well, they suggested perhaps we could do that, and I suggested that I don't think that would be a good idea. That would be safety, that would be a safety issue from my perspective. I mean, you know, you guys can certainly overrule me and say you can, but I'm saying I wouldn't suggest that. Okay?
Okay, any other questions before, okay, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, one last thing, had a gentleman come in today, he's representing Take It to Town. They go out and they do little side projects, I think they're part of the Federated Church. And one of the things that they want to do is they want to go down, they want to remove fence line brush and sort materials and bale some materials down at Recare Recycling. And they asked me if it would be possible that when they strip that stuff out of the fence, if they would be able to take that over and put it in the brush pile that we have over at the street department on Saturday. And I'm thinking that would be possible, but I don't want to leave the gates open all day. I would just as soon give them a key, say on Friday, let them dispose of the brush and stuff, and then put the key in the mailbox out front or something like that, if that would be okay. I didn't think it would be an issue, but I thought I'd bring it up and let you guys know that that was going on.
Any objections to that? No, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next is the Gunning Gray Cabin lease transfer. Doug?
The Lake Committee met last Thursday and approved a transfer from Mr. Gunning to Mr. Gray at the lake, and we approved it. We have all the paperwork in place, so I want to make a motion to approve the transfer to Mr. Gray.
Any questions? Okay, all right, motion has been made by Alderman Heidert, second by Alderman, oh, did you make the motion?
I made the motion, but that's
You
okay.
made the motion, okay, I'm sorry.
Right down, second.
Yeah, the motion was made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Heidert, that we approve the Gunning Gray cabin lease transfer. If there's no question on this, the clerk will call the roll.
Campbell,
Aye.
Downey,
Yes.
Oswald, Tim,
Yes.
Heider,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Brockmeyer,
Aye.
Teresa.
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried 8-0. If there's no other questions, yes, Van?
Can I make one more announcement?
Sure.
Okay. MB contracting, the folks who were gonna come back and do the reseeding and all that stuff along the roadside, and Locust and down in the south part of town, all that. They got here, they were here for about 2.5 days, and they got called out by the federal government for the Hurricane Florence deal. So they've been here, they got a little bit of a start on that, and now they're out of town. So I just want to make everybody aware that they didn't come to town, work for about a day and a half, and then decide, yeah, it's all good, take off, leave me hold the bag here with a bunch of stuff. So I just want to make everybody aware that that was going on. Okay.
Wow.
You know,
Yes.
do you by any chance have the phone number of the gentleman who came twice to talk about his road over on?
Oakland?
Yeah.
Yes, I do have his, I do have his phone number.
Would you mind calling him and just telling him what's going on?
I can.
Would you please?
I can.
Thank you. Or
I have
you
a
can give it
question
to me and
for
I'll
you.
call him. I
Okay.
just think somebody
Yeah, we-
needs to tell
yeah.
him.
Yeah, what's the issue with the street on Locust, where all the rock pile is there? Is that road washing out, or?
Yeah, there's a big culvert that runs through there. It's like a 36-inch diameter culvert, and it runs through there, and so when you get a lot of rain, you get a lot of water that comes down into that area and goes through the culvert. Well, a hole is developed in that culvert. And so, to try and keep rock in it, we put some bigger rock in it, and then we put some rock on top. And, you know, we don't want anybody to tear up their car or anything like that, so we did put a cone up down there, so it does kind of make that area right there sort of one lane-ish through there. We recognize that. And so, because of the size of the culvert and the fact that you'll have to turn, or that you'll have to close down the street in order to replace it and all that stuff, I actually went out and I got an estimate on a cost to find, or to have that done by an outside group other than somebody in the city. Somebody that would have more appropriate tools would be able to do it faster and perhaps get it all out in one day and not have street closures for overnight or days or whatever to get that done down there. That same situation exists also over on Jacob Lane. And that is also a big culvert, but it also has a AC water main running through it, and there's some other utilities that are nearby there too. And so that one for sure would be much better done by someone who has a little bigger equipment, you know, that kind of thing, to take care of that. Both those culverts are eligible for MMT funds, if we have MMT funds available. I've checked with Hennigan and Associates, they're the ones that are monitoring our MFT fund, and they said that, yeah, those would be eligible. So we have a choice here. We can you know, perhaps pay for that with MFT funds if they're available, or if it's up to me, with you guys is okay, I would probably take that and have that, you know, bid it to a couple companies or something like that, and try and get us a good price on that and have that work done out of house.
Well, I noticed we oiled and chipped and we left that blank, like we were gonna come back and repair that. And that's if we were repairing it or what we were doing with it.
Right, that's the situation.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll leave it.
Motion adjourned?
Motion to adjourn by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Brockmeyer. All those in favor say aye.